Hey, Genki Call here with your campaign tasks, upcoming events, and what you can get with your event keys this week for the week of March 13th, 2023. We'll start with the campaign tasks, which can be found right here. For gold, win 15 ranked PvP battles and use a sword weapon for 15 wins. For silver, explore Leonis Empire twice at difficulty 7+, and complete 2 adventure boards. That's a 2-day thing. If you don't want to do it, you can always re-roll it. Win 5 battles in a single arena run and craft 2 blue summoning stones. For bronze, open 2 event chests. Use a Leonis Empire team for 3 wins. Match 60 blue gems in battle. Earn 40 souls in battle. Use the Lion Banner for 3 wins. Get 7 knight kills. Earn 4 glory in battle, use the War Priest class for 3 wins, kill 1 treasure gnome, and get 10 yellow kills. Not too bad. There's a couple that people might want to reroll in there. But as far as Leonis Empire goes, now, there are some new troops, and you might want to use your event keys this week to get those new troops, because I don't know about you, but I've spent a lot of keys and glory trying to get the new Leonis Empire troops, and I have been unsuccessful for some of them. So first though, let's go to the shop. Resources, grab your spoils of war. I recommend getting all 10 of these every week if you can. 10 event keys for 1800 glory is fantastic. The only better deal you're ever going to get for event keys is maybe from the Wandering Merchant. As far as the weekly event goes, our new troop here is Orpheus Priestess, who will give all other allies, not herself, but all other allies a quarter of their mana and cleanse them. The way this is worded, I know it doesn't give mana to herself, and it may not cleanse herself either. I'm thinking she's not going to cleanse herself. She is immune to silence, and these things are kind of boring traits. But you do get these resources if you need the arcanes or even the minor trait stones. It's a fantastic deal for those. And if you have the glory, I recommend getting this up to mythic level every week, because it's a guaranteed level 20 troop for your kingdom when you need it for your power level. Now, I'm not going to do this yet because I'm going to burn some keys. I'll come back for this after a while. Now that we've gone over that, I'm going to use some keys, but yeah. Let me see what I'm missing first of all. Leonis, Empire, and Unowned. So I'm mistaken. I'm thinking of Sword's Edge. Gasp! I made a mistake again. That's 2 weeks in a row. The horror! Okay, so you might want to save your event keys for when we go to Sword's Edge on the 24th. Not this week. Sorry. My bad. Please forgive me. So let's go over what you can get with your event keys, folks. Let's sort this by base rarity. I'm so sorry. I got ahead of myself. All right, let's go over these because you can't get all of these with your event keys. The ones you can get. Flame of Anu, which is kind of a okay mythic. He does damage to the first 2 enemies only, boosted by burning and fairy fired enemies. And he burns and fairy fires a random enemy when matching 4+ gems. It's a ×5 ratio. That's great. And it's an extra 5 points for each. So if each of them is burning and fairy fired, that's 8 ×5 plus this, which is great until they start dying and you lose the boost because you no longer have those burning and fairy fired enemies. So it is helpful for the burn and fairy fire. It is good for the 3rd trait, but otherwise, I'm not in love with him. You cannot get the Leonis Tower. You can only get that in the Soul Forge. Voice of Orpheus is, however, there, and he's oh so handsome. He does damage to an enemy boosted by all ally mana with a 1-to-1 ratio. Say he has 20 mana, and then with the rest of your team, there's a total of, say, 18. So he'll do for me, 51 damage plus that 38 for mana that the rest of the team has. It's not fantastic, but he does cleanse all allies, and more importantly, every time you match yellow gems, he will cleanse all allies. Fantastic for Guild Wars if you're worried about them using Elementalist and that kind of thing, but otherwise not really used that much. Divine Ishbala is significant. For one thing, people love using Divine Ishbala on um, a couple of really good skull spamming teams. And she does also enchant two random allies, and she gives all divine allies a 40% mana start. Apparently, this used to be 50 before I started playing the game a few years ago, and it was so strong that they had to nerf it down to 40 and they never put it back. Anyway, Divine Ishbala. Emperor Corvash does true damage to the first two enemies, stuns them, and drains their mana. So, that's really nice. I am using him in the world event, maybe. I have a team with him anyway. But, the stun and mana drain is really nice. It's only to two enemies, but he also stuns a random enemy on 4+ gem matches. So, next up, you will not be able to get the City of Thieves troops. You have to get them from the City of Thieves in the underworld with your Chaos Shards. Regent Khalif, now, Regent Khalif can do damage to all enemies, but you will definitely gain some magic. But you're either going to gain life or deal damage to all enemies or gain 10 more magic. There are 3 separate things that you can do here, and getting that bonus magic every turn is not going to do squat if it never lands on one of these other things. So I don't like using this troop. I have tried it. I was thinking, maybe it'll do, yeah, maybe, no. It never worked out for me, and if it works for you, that's fantastic, but Regent Khalif has never worked out for me, and I swear this is a woman in drag, by the way. Anyway, 25% chance to summon the Tao when I die. Anyway, he's very pretty. Anyway, cannot get the Emperor. This is from the vault only. Amira, you will get just for completing the storyline in this. Sorry, my brain is gone. The storyline in this kingdom, Leonis Empire. True damage to an enemy, steal magic, and if they use blue mana, deal double damage. I forgot that she did true damage. You could put her with Emperor Corvash, perhaps. She is immune to mana burn and mana drain, etc., so the spirit gems aren't going to damage her. Plus, she can dodge skull damage. Always nice. Corbin Half-Elf, he's okay. He just that 10-to-1 ratio on the explosion, it just, even with 100 gold, you're just not exploding that much of the board. I really prefer Egg Thief personally, but you do get extra 4 gold every time you match 4+ gems. But for the world event this week, you could try Corbin Half-Elf as a mana generator, or for the same colors, you could go with, what's her name, that I can never remember, the Devoted, which I'll just go over now. She creates 7 gems of any type you want, including skulls, cleanses all allies, and gives them armor. So, I think the Devoted is probably going to be better for mana gen this week, but that is entirely personal preference. General Suladin is our Siege Breaker. He does that 3 to 5 times damage with his spell and his skulls if you haven't traded. 2 towers, including Leonis Tower. And yeah, it is boosted by Leonis Empire allies as well, with a ×4 ratio. That's not too bad. Khatib Tahir. He gives life and attack to 1 ally, and if they're human, he does double the effect. That can really add up. And you have the Water Link, bonus blue mana from blue gem matches, which nicely feeds back into himself as well. The Manticore Protector, this is our God Slayer for Leonis Empire. 40% skull damage reduction, and the 3 to 5 times damage to bosses, which includes the bosses in the dungeon, the new gem dragons, anything with a red border on it, Zolgoth, any of them with the red border are going to get that 3 to 5 times damage. Next, we have the Monster Muncher. damage to an enemy if the enemy's a monster, deal double damage, and there's a 50% chance to devour them. Yum, 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 yummy monsters. Also summons a Death Storm when an enemy dies, so brown mana if they die, and double skull damage versus monsters as well. The Pride Guard does damage to an enemy boosted by all ally armor. That could be significant if you have a lot of armor, but it is a 4-to-1 ratio. Skull damage reduction by 25% is okay. Can't get Tomb Robber or Cat Burglar. These are both from City of Thieves. Wazir is another God Slayer from Leonis Empire. This one does damage to an enemy boosted by gold. And then we've got the Desert Mantis. Create 8 yellow and 8 blue gems. That can really loop if you've got the right storm going on. Also, bonus yellow mana from yellow gem matches. This would actually be fantastic with Orrery, which creates a storm that's blue and yellow. Is it blue and yellow? I think it's blue and yellow. Pretty sure. But you can't use that this week. Anyway, Hunter's Mark an enemy, summon a Warhawk, and create 7 red gems for the Falconer. Plus you have the Fire Link and 50% mana start. Manticore is going to stun an enemy and drain their mana by 7, and you'll get some attack. Your magic +1. So stun and drain mana by 1. It's like Emperor Corvash, only 1 enemy instead of 2, plus he gets a boost, and it's no damage. 50% mana start as well. Orpheus's Priestess, we went over. Servant of the Tao does damage to an enemy and gains the same amount of armor boosted by their attack. It's a 2-to-1 ratio, so if they have a 20 attack, you'll get +10 to your armor. And a 50% skull damage reduction, and double skull damage versus stunned enemies. So not too bad on that. The Snake Charmer creates 9 purple gems and summons a Sand Cobra. It doesn't matter even if he is webbed, because there's nothing purple here. He's going to do this no matter what if he casts. Also have the Magic Link bonus purple mana. It doesn't feed back into himself, but as long as you have something purple on the team, it'll be helpful. Next up is the Wandering Monk, who does damage to an enemy and double if they're stunned. Then she stuns them if they're not already. You also stun them when you inflict skull damage, but no skull damage reduction. The Devoted, we already went over this, and yeah, I think she's going to be good for this week's event. Takaraki Warrior is going to be super helpful this week, but only on the higher levels. You know, it's boosted by their armor, so on those really high levels, he's going to do a ton of true damage. You could pair him with Emperor Corvash and just really knock him dead, literally. Then we have the War Elephant, life and 2 magic to all allies below me, then create 8 skulls. It's a good thing he gets life because he's going to create those skulls, and you only have 25% skull damage reduction. And 3 more. Kopeshi, pull an enemy to the first position and stun them. Well, that's it. That's all. Except double skull damage versus stunned enemies and a 25% skull damage reduction. Sand Cobra just poison diseases and stuns and gives you the bonus brown gem mana and 20% chance to dodge. And finally, the Warhawk, who's going to deal damage to an enemy if they're Hunter's Marked, do 10 more damage and gain an extra turn. This could work really well with Elementalist if this is all you've got. Pair it with Elementalist, hope that you get some match 4s and just do that double damage, or not double, but that extra damage and get an extra turn. But it does do double skull damage to enemies with Hunter's Mark plus the Hunter's Mark. So I said Elementalist, I meant War Priest will, I'm sorry, War Priest will stun. Elementalist will stun. I'm looking for Hunter's Mark, and there are quite a few that will Hunter's Mark. There's Archer, there's Dervish, there's Warden. There are quite a few that will Hunter's Mark on match 4s. So, yes, and I'm forgetting something. Unowned. The one I don't owe. The Tao. It doesn't say the. I'm calling it the Tao, though, because I feel like it. This is like Shibanu Vespera, but not as good, because it can't loop. Shibanu loops and loops and loops forever. This doesn't. Eliminate, half of your magic from a random skill on an enemy, destroy 8 gems of one of their mana colors, and then repeat 2 more times for random enemies. If this was create instead of destroy, this would be so powerful. But as it is, you're going to get some mana out of it, and you could get a match 4 from destroying those gems, but it's just not strong enough to really depend on this guy. Also have a chance to summon a Servant of Tao when matching 4+ gems, so if you have a spot open, that could work. We are going to go ahead and we're going to kill 50 keys, see if I can get Tao. It's very unlikely, but I'm going to do it anyway because I didn't. Now I got another Emperor Corvash, but I was hoping for streamer's luck. Darn! All right, coming up this week. First. Humans get plus 10% to their skills, and Divine also get plus 10% for their skills. Divine humans will get plus 20% to their skills this week, of course, and the new troop will get an extra 400 gold if you take her into PvP or Explore. Extra 400 per battle. And then for events coming up this week, we have on Tuesday the Faction Assault City of Thieves. I will put some videos up on why you might want to not do the Faction Assault at City of Thieves and why you might want to do the Faction Assault at City of Thieves. It all has to do with farming and getting resources, but I'll let you look at those videos if you're interested. On Wednesday, we have the Alex Pet Rescue. That is the die 20 that will give you extra turns in Treasure Hunt. And then on Thursday, we have the War Priest class trial. On this weekend, we have Raid Boss. And that should be it for the week. We do still have the thing going on here, the Kingdom Pass. And I think that's everything I have to go over. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Check out the videos popping up on the screen now. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.